Each president's quote, "Perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages." George Washington. A constitution of government once changed from freedom can never be restored. Liberty once lost is lost forever. John Adams. I predict future happiness for Americans if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them. Thomas Jefferson. Freedom has more often been lost in small steps by progressive incrementalism than it has been by catastrophic upheavals such as violence or war. James Madison. We must support our rights or lose our character, and with it perhaps our liberties. James Monroe. Always vote for principle, though you may vote alone and you may cherish the sweetest reflection that your vote is never lost. John Quincy Adams. There are no necessary evils in government. Its evils exist only in its abuses. Andrew Jackson. The less government interferes with private pursuits, the better for general prosperity. Martin Van Buren. There is nothing more corrupting, nothing more destructive of the noblest and finest feelings of our nature than the exercise of unlimited power. William Henry Harrison. I should be pleased to see all the nations on the earth prosperous and happy and rich, for it would furnish to me the best evidence of the prosperity of my native land. John Tyler. There is more selfishness and less principle among members of Congress than I had any conception of before I became President of the United States. James K. Polk. May the boldest fear and the wisest tremble when incurring responsibilities on which may depend our country's peace and prosperity, and in some degree the hopes and happiness of the whole human family. Zachary Taylor. Nations, like individuals in a state of nature, are equal and independent, possessing certain rights and owing certain duties to each other. Millard Fillmore. The dangers of a concentration of all power in the general government of a confederacy so vast as ours are too obvious to be disregarded. Franklin Pierce. The fact is that our union rests upon public opinion and can never be cemented by the blood of its citizens. If it cannot live in the affections of its people, it must die. James Buchanan. You can fool some of the people all of the time and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. Abraham Lincoln. It is our sacred duty to transmit unimpaired to our posterity the blessings of liberty which were bequeathed to us by the founders of the Republic. Andrew Johnson. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's, but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition, and ignorance on the other. Ulysses S. Grant. Nothing brings out the lower traits of human nature like office-seeking. Men of good character and impulses are betrayed by it into all sorts of meanness. Rutherford B. Hayes. Now more than ever, the people are responsible for the character of their Congress. If that body be ignorant, reckless, and corrupt, it is because the people tolerate ignorance, recklessness, and corruption. James A. Garfield. The extravagant expenditure of public money is an evil not to be measured by the value of that money to the people who are taxed for it. Chester A. Arthur. The ship of democracy, which has weathered all storms, may sink through the mutiny of those on board. Grover Cleveland. If you take out of your statutes, your constitution, your family life all that is taken from the sacred book, what would there be left to bind society together? Benjamin Harrison. Let us ever remember that our interest is in concord, not in conflict, and that our real eminence rests in the victories of peace, not those of war. William McKinley. Here is your country. Cherish these natural wonders. Cherish the natural resources. Cherish the history and romance as a sacred heritage for your children and your children's children. Do not let selfish men or greedy interests skin your country of its beauty, its riches, or its romance. Theodore Roosevelt. We have a government of limited power under the Constitution, and we have got to work out our problems on the basis of law. William Howard Taft. America lives in the heart of every man everywhere who wishes to find a region where he will be free to work out his destiny as he chooses. Woodrow Wilson. America's present need is not heroics but healing, not nostrums but normalcy, not revolution but restoration. Warren G. Harding. This country would not be a land of opportunity. America could not be America if the people were shackled with government monopolies. Calvin Coolidge. When there is a lack of honor in government, the morals of the whole people are poisoned. Herbert Hoover. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Once a government is committed to the principle of silencing the voice of opposition, it has only one way to go, and that is down the path of increasingly repressive measures until it becomes a source of terror to all its citizens and creates a country where everyone lives in fear. Harry S. Truman. If a political party does not have its foundation in the determination to advance a cause that is right and that is moral, then it is not a political party. It is merely a conspiracy to seize power. Dwight D. Eisenhower. Let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past. Let us accept our own responsibility for the future. John F. Kennedy. This right to vote is the basic right without which all others are meaningless. It gives people as individuals, control over their own destinies. Lyndon B. Johnson. Each moment in history is a fleeting time, precious and unique. But some stand out as moments of beginning, in which courses are set that shape decades or centuries. Richard M. Nixon. Her government big enough to give you everything you want is a government big enough to take from you everything you have. Gerald R. Ford. But I am not discouraged. I do not despair for our country. I believe tonight, as I always have, that the essential decency, compassion, and common sense of the American people will prevail. Jimmy Carter. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Ronald Reagan. There is but one just use of power, and it is to serve people. George H.W. Bush. The road to tyranny, we must never forget, begins with the destruction of the truth. William J. Clinton. I'm the decider, and I decide what is best. George W. Bush. We did not come to fear the future. We came here to shape it. Barack Obama. Sadly, the American dream is dead. Donald Trump. We Irish are the only people in the world who are actually nostalgic about the future. Joe Biden.